Good day. I've been away for a few days and thankfully plot neighbours have looked after our plants and they're all looking amazingly healthy. I came down last night and had a look at them, and even though they had sort of quite crisp tops, they were clearly wet underneath because the trays were pretty heavy. So yeah, thank you to my plot neighbours. These are the Guernsey Toms at the front, starting to put on some decent growth now. But I think with the time that we've had away, things have just generally, they haven't really jumped, but they have grown. This is, you just see there, the Oregon Homestead sweetmeat that I said was going to be germinating, and it has. Lettuce, Lola Rosso in the middle has done really well, but Lobjoy's green and the Frisée de Beauregard from Chaz hasn't, which is odd. But at least we, oh, is that one? There's one there. Yeah, there's one. These are mainly butternut squash, various beetroot, okay germination. I mean, enough germination to have modular sown beetroot, but considering that was fresh seed, I'm a bit surprised the germination wasn't a bit better. If I just pick this, yeah, that's got a few roots, can you see, just beginning to come through. These need to go in and will be going in this week. Look at these comfrey. These are the comfrey stubs. So I just pulled the comfrey stalks out, chopped off the root end and put them in, and look how they're growing. I didn't know, I mean, it's not surprising I suppose that you can propagate comfrey like this, but I've always done it from root cuttings before. This is what's it, Bocking 14, so I've always done it from root cuttings, and clearly this sort of stub root process works as well. These are celeriac, which I was given by a plot neighbour. And these are some tomatoes that volunteered themselves in compost. I have no idea what variety they are. Some of this will be going to the Hanwell Carnival this Saturday. All of this down here, which is oregano, will be going to the Hanwell Carnival. So yeah, and then we've got plants in the poly that are also going to go to the carnival. But as you can see, there's my shadow. The ground is very dry. These were watered this morning, and there's sort of no sign on top that they have been watered, but that's okay. And my pond down there, that's the below ground washing up bowl pond, which has got various frogs in it. That's only got about an inch of water. They seem to be enjoying that one, the above ground one at the moment as well. But yeah, it's dry. You can see from where the plot neighbour has trimmed grass that it's all dried. And in fact, I noticed it was so hot today that some of the beetroot here, you see how that has wilted, that leaf has wilted, though others have not. So I'm just going to give those a quick water as well. Yeah, very, very sunny. And I think soon we're going to be harvesting some of these potatoes, these Colleen early potatoes. Anyway, there's more work to do, so I'm going to get on and do other things tomorrow. I've had a couple of days at my desk, or a couple of days, had a full day at my desk from about 7 till 6 today, 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. today. It must be about 20 past, half past 6 now, so I just thought I'd pop down. Yes, it has been a warm day today. I know it's been warm over the last couple of days, but it says that as we get towards the end of this week, we're going to have quite a heat plume building up. The shed says that it is 34 degrees inside at the moment, and it's reached 49 degrees. I'm really not sure. Yeah, I have another thermometer that I was sent. I'm going to bring it down and put it next to this one. I mean, that where it is it's sort of against wood, and that wood gets full sun for quite a bit of the day, so I guess it could heat up pretty strongly. But almost 50 degrees C inside the shed, or maybe. I mean, with the door open, there's a nice breeze, so that's lovely. But yeah, things are dry, and I'm really glad I came down at the end of day today to do a little bit more watering. There's a lot of things I want to get in the ground over the coming week, 10 days. I'm also going to get that vinyl up. It's just, well, I won't say what it's doing. It's frustrating me and annoying me now. So that vinyl at the front is going to come up. Have a real tidy there. However, I'm really going to need to keep on top of weeding that area, because that's where an awful lot of sankfoil and bindweed is. Whether I'll have time to get in and get that out in the coming weeks, I'm not sure. What's more important for me is strimming to keep slugs and snails down, and getting things into the ground. Oh, bang, that was the door, as you most probably guessed. So yeah, I wanted to come down and just say hello. This is obviously the first segment of a week at the plot, and it's a Tuesday segment, so it's quite late in the week in many ways. It's quite late in the day for a Tuesday segment as well, because I normally try and do them a bit earlier. But there we are. Things to do, people to talk to, and people to see on WhatsApp calls and Zoom calls in terms of work. So that's my day today. I will be down hopefully early tomorrow morning to actually get the hose out and water the beans. The beans are growing pretty well, though those that have been munched by beans are not doing so well. But certainly the Golden Gate, one of the plants is about 3 foot, almost 4 foot up the pole. Another one had actually decided to go next door to the neighbouring pole and go up that one. It must have been blown in the wind, and it fell across, it felt the other pole and started spinning around that one. But what I've done is I've detached it from that pole, brought it back to the pole that I sowed it at the base of, and I've spun it around. So I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. But at the moment, Golden Gator are going for it. Then we've got Shaz's black runner beans, the Scarlet Emperors, that went black, and then the Madeira Maroon, which is interesting because the Madeira Maroon is usually, I seem to remember, the one that races for it, but this year it's definitely the Golden Gate, and I still haven't found the jar of additional Golden Gate seeds that I've got. And we'll have a look next door here tomorrow at the highly scientific experiment as well, because I know something has happened, but I don't know whether anything has happened in other pots. Maybe we'll have a look at that tomorrow. See you then. Bye. Good day. This is one of our roses on a communal area. And here's another one here, just glorious. And today we're going to be doing labelling of any plants that don't have a label on, because we have the Hanwell Carnival on Saturday, and all of these are going to be on sale at Hanwell Carnival. So we'll be setting up in the morning, and then I think the carnival's on from noon till 6:30, no, 6 o'clock, I think, noon till 6. Thankfully it's going to be a quieter and cooler day, not quieter, a cooler day I mean. It's rather quiet at the moment. Some that were sown specifically, though, haven't quite made it. But this is really just the first batch. And as I say, I'm meeting a fellow plot holder down here, and we're going to be doing watering and labelling. Obviously these are tagetes, and then over here we have tomatoes, not sure what variety, I think somebody else knows. Lots of Cavallo Nero there. So these tagetes, they're marigolds. And then a real sorted mix here. Seedling from a silver birch. What else have we got? What's that say? Snapdragons there. More tomatoes. Lobelia over there. Some more lobelia there. Not sure what these are. You see. Don't know what they are. That's their prettiness. So yeah, watering and potting some of these on. What's that? Livingston daisy mixed. I'm wondering if that's larger ice plants. But yeah, that's my afternoon, or for the next couple of hours anyway. But yeah, look at this. Bit of deadheading needed on here, but isn't that just glorious? Right, cutting up milk bottle cartons now, or milk plastic jug cartons, and labelling. See you again soon. Bye. Good day. Just picking up on our highly scientific experiment of beans being sown on the top of the soil as opposed to beans being sown as per the standard and then being sort of buried an inch or so below the compost. We can see here that this one, there is some green here. It's definitely germinated, and this one here has germinated and it's putting down root. But I've noticed that this one in here was actually picked out by a bird and was actually in there a moment ago. So these are sitting in some water, and I think it's fair to say that at this stage we've got germination here, clear germination here with leaf growth, germination here. This back area here is heaving up, so there's germination there. This side's heaving up. Can you see that? A little bit of heaving up there as well. Nothing heaving up there. But to me at the moment, traditional sowing is better than sowing on top of the soil. So both sets have actually been standing in water simply because it's been so hot. So what my plot neighbour usually does is sows her runner beans on top like these here, and then leaves them to germinate and grow on in about an inch of water, and just tops up the water level each day. Where of course what I normally do is this here, which is either sowing traditionally into pots or traditionally direct into the ground. So these are all Madeira Maroon, and as I say, at the moment the ones sown traditionally, i.e. pressed into holes in the ground and then covered up and watered, are doing better. I've actually found some, what was I saying the other day? Well, our rock and core have been eaten, so I'm about to sow some more rock and core in pots, and also the yellow bean, Golden Gate. Even though I haven't found my jam jar which has them in, I have found some other seeds in our box in the fridge, so I'm going to be sowing some of those too. But yeah, Next step of the highly scientific experiment to come, but at the moment the traditional way of doing things is certainly winning out. See you soon. Bye. Good day. It is the morning after the day before rather than the night before. So yesterday was the Hanwell Carnival, so I was down here just before 8 o'clock yesterday, and with a group of volunteers and the fellow committee members we transported all of those plants. I think there was about 30 crates of plants to Hanwell Carnival, plus tables and gazebo and chairs and all of that type of thing. And we eventually got back here, so the carnival was noon till 6, and we eventually got back here and I was home by 7 o'clock. So everything that didn't get sold, which wasn't very much, I think we must have sold about 95% of what we took, that will be made available to people here to buy sort of cheaply over the next week. And we just had a really good day. I mean, an exhausting day, an absolute exhausting day. The pub opposite us has a craft market once a month on a Saturday morning, and we're wondering whether next year maybe we open our gates, because we're able to do that and we've got space to do that. We open our gates and we do a sort of like cake and coffee and plant sale on the same day that they have a craft day. The Hanwell Carnival is absolutely great. It's the oldest independent carnival in London. It's still free to get in, and it's absolutely fabulous, though it does take an awful lot of work in transporting everything there and transporting everything back. And this year we were just really happy to have so many volunteers to help us do that, and of course sell on the day. And I think we took a record amount yesterday, which was great too. I'll report back on that in another segment of this week, or another week of a week at the plot. And I bought a few things as well. So I have an aubergine. I was going to sow aubergine, I didn't. I now have one. That is going to be going in the ground here in the polytunnel. I also got some lily of the valley, which is one of my mum's favourite plants. Not from Market Street at Morrison's. Other supermarkets are available. So this was, all of our plants are sort of grown here, if you like, and potted on. So that's great. And something else that I adore, and if you've been reading my A Guernsey Gardener in London, you'll know I'm looking for this carnation. So this is a cutting actually from a bunch of carnations that somebody bought, and they took a cutting, and there we are. Yeah, so I'll do a link down below to the segment where I talk about my first and so far last horticultural job, which was around the age of 11. So where I was deadheading carnations. And I also, this might be a bit wobbly, look. This has been grown by seed from one of the trustees of our charity, and it's about to flower. So they gave us that, and I have bought that. So yeah, make sure it doesn't fall over. Rather happy with my choices that I had yesterday. I mean, there were so many plants that I thought, that would be nice, and that would be nice. And I was quite good. I said, I'm not going to buy anything until the end of day. Because I bought the aubergine, so I'm lying basically. I bought the aubergine, I bought the lily of the valley, and I bought the carnation and the cactus. And I also bought some lixnis, which is that lovely silvery furry plant with the pink flower. And I thought, no, I'm not going to. So I decided, no, I'm not going to buy any more until the end, when things were discounted. And actually, when it got to the end, yeah, I have I bought anything else? No, I've bought another Lixis, that's it, because that was discounted. But apart from that, I think I did pretty well. So I spent 10 quid on the day, with the cactus being a £5. So yeah, I did pretty well, I think. And because it was so exhausting yesterday, and Richard did have a lovely meal for me when I got home, which was great, because the heavens opened literally as the carnival closed at 6 o'clock. The heavens opened, the rain came down, and yeah, by the time I was home, I was wet and soaking. But so it was lovely to have a lovely meal. Today is quite a different day. Friday we got to about 34 degrees. Today I think they're saying it's going to get potentially up to about 18 degrees. Yesterday was quite cool, but lower pressure came in. We had quite cool breeze, not a huge amount of sun, and then rain at the end of the day. And I think today we're going to have some showers as well. So because I'm quite exhausted, I'm not going to do a lot out there. But what I am going to do today is I'm going to sow some more rock and core and some more Golden Gate beans. I remembered I had further seed in our seed box in the fridge, but I still haven't found that jar. No, I still haven't found the jar. Just hang on one sec. As I was having a cup of tea this morning, I was watching Vivi's June tour and her decision to change certain beds around this year and not grow certain things because of where she is at the moment. And it got me thinking to the beds here and what I'm going to be putting in next week. I won't have time to do things today. I might come back later on and do some weeding. But we still got tomatoes to go in. We've got butternut squash to go in. We've got Oregon Homestead sweetmeat squash to go in. We've got quite a few things to go in, more courgettes. And I decided where things are going to go. So let me just take you out there and I'll give you my thoughts. This is one bench of things to go in. The beetroot will go into the beetroot bed, but then we've got these squash, butternut squash and Oregon Homestead sweetmeat. Then we've got more tomatoes to go in. We've got some celeriac to go in. A few tomatoes there as well. A couple of courgettes that are desperate to go in. Look at that colour, that's not good. This bed is sort of pretty full of tomatoes at the moment. These are about foot and a half high. We do have some space here for further tomatoes to go in because we had a couple eaten. I don't want to use this bit up here because this it's still quite sluggy, I think, at the moment. So a couple of tomatoes in here. Then if we just spin around, oh, it's all Mr. Frog. This is going to be a tomato bed this year as well. Then coming down, oh, we've got another, gosh, look how overgrown that is though. But look, evening primrose. I hadn't noticed. I saw, oh, look at that green fat-legged insect in there. Oh, lovely. So this is the beetroot bed. This chard is going to come out in the next couple of days. Then here, this is where we're going to put more tomatoes into these two beds. That will be coming out. So there's quite a lot of green flower on here, but you can see how these seed pods hopefully are beginning to discolour, so they're beginning to dry. So that will be out in a couple of weeks, I would have thought. So yeah, and then over there in that empty bed, I think that's where we're going to put salad, the Lollo Rosso that we have. The beans, actually, the what they call Golden Gate, one is about a foot from the top of the canes now. Madeira Maroon usually rushes away. That's just behind the Golden Gate, and the Shaz's Black Scarlet Emperor runner beans are behind those. So I must look up what runner bean actually means, why it's called runners. Is it called runners because they crop and crop and crop and run and run and run, if you see what I mean? Or is it the speed of growth? I'm not sure. But then if we come over here, this I've decided is where our squash is going to go. And I might put those two courgettes in here as well. There is actually a central bed in there, a central path rather in there, where sort of along the line of where the wood is. And I thought what I'd do is I'd put sort of squash down here and squash down the other side. I think that will mean that we're sorted for this year in terms of putting things out. Oh no, we do have two other beds, don't we? We've got a bed over there behind the ceanothus, which isn't going to have anything in. Oh look, there's Bobby Longlegs coming. You see him? Oh. And yeah, one other bed sort of the size of our standard beds over there. So I maybe have some more tomatoes in a bed up there, and then I think we're sorted. This is the Lixnis that I've just mentioned before. Lovely sort of furry silvery foliage, silvery green. Oh yes, of course we've got the cucumbers to go in. We've got 5 cucumbers to go in. They're going to need to go into a place where there aren't sort of decent slugs. Though as Vivi has said, you know, this year we've had slugs eating our tomatoes as well. So these are the last lot of tomatoes, so they'll be going in next week. So I think we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 20. I think we must have about 40 tomatoes to go in yet. And I think in these beds, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a row here, a row down the middle at a diagonal to the plantings, and a row along there as well. So I'll get 3 rows in. That will mean I'll have, let's say, 6, 12. I think I'll be able to get maybe 15 in each of those beds and still have okay airflow. Yeah, and then leaving this up for squash. But look what I do need to do now before I sign off. Harvest these blueberries. That is going to be lovely. And down here we have a different variety as well. Bit fatter those. But yeah, really pleased with what is going to be the blueberry harvest this year. Right, lots of tidying up to do. Oh, just before I sign off, so these are Mr. Bethel's purple podded, which I'm leaving to go to the pea stage. And then these are, oh, that's golden sweet, and these are Oregon sugar pod. And as you can see, whilst we were away in Guernsey, they really suffered. Not quite sure why. I know they were watered. I'm not quite sure why they've suffered. Maybe there's not enough enrichment in that soil. Though, of course, the beans did very well in that soil last year, and it has been fed. Anyway, never mind, never mind. Right, I'm going to leave you with a bit of footage that we took outside Queen Charlotte's cottage at Kew Gardens when we were there earlier in the week, and the jackdaws flying across and making lots of noise. See you soon for another a week at the plot. Bye.